Well, came to an agreement with Mark Gibson of Gibson Towing out of Douglas, Wyoming. Got another edition of Drunk or Texting for you. Also, rates are in the freaking toilet. They've always been bad out of Colorado and Wyoming, but proof of how bad they are, because I'm going to be driving 800 miles empty just to avoid that. All the details in that, Rusty, and more, all coming up on this episode of
The Clutch Trucker Channel.
Clutch Trucker, filmed before a live and fuzzy studio audience. Yep, that's Rusty, the world-famous meatball dog. Hey YouTube, Clutch Trucker here. Thanks for tuning in to another edition of the Clutch Trucker Channel. Alright, a drunk driver, we'll be showing you that on drunken texting. Searching for loads. The damn holiday weekend is really screwing everything up. And did get a chance to meet with Mark Gibson, who owns Gibson Towing, on Wednesday in Douglas, Wyoming, and we came to an amicable agreement. So we'll have some more details on that coming up. Right now, today is Friday, the 1st of September. Just delivered my load over in Rothschild, Wisconsin, that I picked up in Glen Rock on Wednesday. And now I'm heading to this quick trip right here in Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin.
75A on the right to US 53 South.
I think I've stopped there before, but I've never stayed the night there. I'm going to be staying there tonight. It's as far as I can get back towards Northfield. I'm picking up the cereal from DLS that goes back to Cheyenne. I'm picking that again tomorrow, Saturday, for a Sunday afternoon, late afternoon delivery. But this is as far as I can make it towards that one. So it'll still be about an hour and a half for me tomorrow, which is fine. I've got to blow out the trailer tomorrow morning before I go down to Northfield to pick up the cereal. And probably stop in Hudson, grab a shower after I've blown out the trailer where that lignite dust gets all over me. So I like to get a shower after that. What do you think? So yeah, we're going to go to this K-Wake trip, quick trip. Apparently they have 14 spots. It's 10:08 a.m., so shouldn't really have an issue getting a place to park, is my theory. Alright, so we need to take exit 94, not this first one, but the next one.
File, take exit 94 on the right to Wisconsin 124.
Thank you, Garmin. Alright, like I say, never stay here in Chippewa Falls. I think I have stopped here. So we'll give this K-Wake trip a chance. And I like the quick trips. Tuesday is the day where they have the $2 off on all their pre-prepared meals. I might just get one of them. I hope my wife did make me some, I think I mentioned in the last video, some of the wonderful chicken Dorito casserole. I'm going to be having that for my dinner time before I go to bed today, and that'll be pretty early today. So that's a beautiful thing, so I got that to look forward to.
94 on the right to Wisconsin 124.
Alrighty. So we'll be getting off here and pulling into the K-Wake trip. Yes, and I know it's not K-Wake trip, it's quick trip, but that's what Elliot and I say to differentiate between the QTs, the quick trips that are down in more like Oklahoma and a lot of the southern Midwestern states, and the ones that are up here in Minnesota and Wisconsin. We call
Quarter
them,
mile, be in the left lane, then keep left to US 53 business route.
call them the K-Wake trips. So, yeah, she gets real chatty as we get real close to our destination here. What do you think? Alright, say 14 spots. Hopefully they'll have one for us.
To US 53 business route, then take the first left. At the traffic light, then take the first right.
Look at that, whole bunch of empty spots there ahead of me. We can take that one on the end, or the one we'll take the one on this upper end here. I think that'll be good. All right. And because there's nobody else here, real easy to get into this one. Just circle around and line her up and back her back in, baby. It's a beautiful thing. All right. Straighten her out. Luckily, I have this lower curb, but we can roll over a little bit here to make this work. And backwards. Might have to do another adjustment or two. Yep, that'll roll us off the pavement. All right, just a little bit more. One more adjustment, I think we'll have it. Well, after I got parked there yesterday morning, that was yesterday, late yesterday morning in Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin. Yeah, I had to get on the boards and look for loads. There was one that I'd seen on the board, on a Coyote board earlier, the day before, so that I was going to try to do that I've done before. It goes from Sidney, Nebraska, up to Billings, Montana. And last time I did it, they paid $1,500. Of course, fuel's gone up about $1 a gallon since then, so I wanted at least $1,600. Kept bidding on it, and they kept coming back with just the 15. I gave up and thought, okay, I'll try again on Thursday. Well, then, of course, that load disappeared. So, I needed to try to fill another hole because, of course, the damn holiday is screwing everything up. I've got the cereal load that I'm running right now back towards Cheyenne for a Sunday night delivery. But then there was going to be no lignite load out of Glen Rock, Wyoming, going back to Wisconsin. And right now the rates in Wyoming and Colorado, they're always bad in Wyoming and Colorado, but they're even worse than usual. Right now loads are paying anywhere from 45 cents a mile up to a high of about 90 cents a mile out of the Denver Cheyenne area. Elliot gets a little bit better fuel economy on his truck. He said it cost him about 90 cents a mile for fuel only. Cost me, I think it cost him only about 70 to 85 cents, or 70, 80 cents. Cost me about 90 to 95 cents a mile for fuel alone. Now, this doesn't even count insurance, license plates, maintenance, everything else, which, when you add all that together, cost me about $1.25 a mile at least to run the truck before I see any scratch, baby. So I just don't understand the morons out there who keep taking these loads for less than $1 a mile. And please, 45 cents a mile, don't even freaking insult me. Oh my God. Nolan Transportation had a whole bunch listed for like 45 cents a mile. Full loads. It's like, come on. I'm sorry. It's cheaper to just drive empty. And that turns out to what I actually ended up having to do. I was on the boards and on the phone for hours that afternoon. I had driven all through the night. I slept in Thursday because I got started late Wednesday, with picking up, having to deliver in Cheyenne, pick up in Glen Rock, made it all the way to Vivian, South Dakota. It was, it was actually early Thursday morning by the time I got parked. And so I slept in that afternoon, and I drove all through the night to make my delivery Friday morning in Rothschild, Wisconsin. Got that drunker texting coming up, so check that out. But yeah, the rates are just terrible. So we'll get into some of that here in a little bit. But first, for those of you just tuning in for this, I know I don't want to make you wait anymore. We got some drunker texting. All right, here I am coming on the on-ramp from 169 on to 494 on the south side of Minneapolis. And look at this car right there. Yep, that's the guy. He's already drifting to the left. Oh, drifts into that lane. No signal. I'm coming over. And just watch. Yep, and slams on the brakes. And then he decides, oh, yeah, I need to put my signal on, move back to the right lane. So he does that. And yeah, he's still kind of drifting around, drifts back over the dotted line. He doesn't seem to be doing too well. What do you think? All right, looks like we have another candidate for drunk or texting. Is he drunk or texting? Seeing as how it's 4 a.m. in the Minneapolis area, this guy's all over the road with his signal still on, almost hit that other car. I would say drunk. Almost hits the wall.
Hey, truck coming up on me in the left lane. If you got a radio on, this car in front of me is obviously drunk off his ass, so watch out.
You just heard me warn the truck driver coming up in the left lane beside me that this guy's drunk. Watch out. Dial 911. Alright, you just heard me dial 911. Obviously, this guy's drunk off his butt and he needs to get stopped. So I give him the description. I even gave him the license plate number because I was able to read that because he kept slowing down in front of me. Alright, just call 911 on this guy. I would be safe to say this is a drunk driver. Turns on the signal, does not change lanes. Swerving all over the road, speed up and down. Into the left lane again, next lane again. Down to 40 miles an hour. Oh, now deciding they're going to take the exit. Hope that's a cop behind him. Painfully obvious that they were drunk, but, you know, it just makes me angry when I can't get the cops to show up in time, but, you know, they obviously were only going a few exits. What are you going to do? You can hope maybe... I did call him back. I called 911 back after they took the exit, and I said, hey, they just took that exit. And, of course, then that means they're going southbound to whatever exit that was. I had given them the license plate number, so hopefully maybe they got pulled over. We can only hope. All right, next big topic of this video is Gibson Towing out of Douglas, Wyoming. They're the ones that I claimed had, well, not just that I claimed, they did screw up my bumper on the front of the truck, and they had dropped the drive shaft while pulling me down the road, and that did a lot more damage than I knew at the time, because the driver at the time just said, oh, it's just an end cap. I've got they had another towing company brought one over to the guy. He fixed that. He didn't tell me the extent of the damage, so I didn't think too much about it. And then I kept driving for the next couple of months, and I had this vibration that I kept feeling, and at first it wasn't too bad. And and vibration on these trucks, you feel that a lot, and you don't really know what the cause can be. A lot of times, it can be a misbalanced tire. It can be a lot of things. But it just kept getting worse and worse, and that's when I tried to go to Pierre, South Dakota to get it fixed. Because I told them, I said, well, I know they had to replace the end cap, so it's probably that or a U-joint or both. And they said, yeah, were you towed recently? Because this is just sheared. We can't even take the bolt off for the U-joint and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay. And that's when I had to go get it fixed at that ELM Truck and Refrigeration in Edgar, Wisconsin. And, I told you before in the last video where I told you Mark Gibson called me, and he did because somebody posted a bad review about him because they had seen my video. And he thought it was a friend of mine, and it wasn't. I don't know who it was, but, I do have to thank the guy who posted that because it at least got Mark Gibson to call me. And we could maybe try to resolve this. And so we had a good conversation. I stopped by in Douglas, Wyoming, got to meet him. Real nice guy. Real straightforward guy, and At first, I thought he was going to try to get out of doing anything because he would say, well, these are all wearable parts in your drive shaft. I'm like, well, yes, they are. And yes, this truck has almost 1 million miles on it. But, you know, I shouldn't have had to replace them right then. This is obviously part of you know, the drive shaft getting dropped. And the bumper being bent up, you know, he did say, well, you know, it's got some rust on it and blah, blah. Well, yeah, it does. It's an older bumper. And I'm missing a fog light, but I told you about that in a couple of videos ago where I have the fog lights with me. I'll show you. And I just hadn't got a chance to put that one in. That was from a construction zone in Wisconsin where somebody had knocked over a cone and it popped up and smacked that fog light in the bumper and knocked it out. I have replacements for that. That wasn't part of the thing, but at any rate. So we were talking a little bit, and like I say, he is a really stand-up guy. And he was really upset that somebody had posted a bad review because he has nothing but 5-star reviews. And he said, look, I'm an honest guy, and I'm trying to run an honest company, and I hate to get, you know, a bad review like that. And I said, well, I understand. I'm an honest guy. I'm trying to run an honest company. But, you know, I felt like I was wronged in this situation. And he did say that he had talked to the driver. He reprimanded that driver who told me that day. I'm not even sure he still works for him. I think he probably still does. But, you know, he made it clear that kind of crap shouldn't happen again. So, you know, I listened very nicely. I talked to him. I think we both were very cordial to each other. You know, he's a small business owner in a small town. I'm a small business owner in a small town. And, you know, we worked it out. He did give me some compensation. I thought that was very fair. I thought much more than I think most people would do. And that's the best thing I can say about Mark Gibson is he went far and above where I think most people would do. Because I think most companies in a situation like that would be, well, we don't even have any proof that it was what we did as far as the drive shaft and everything goes. And that's why I honestly, after calling him back a couple of times, and when he never called me back, I didn't pursue it anymore because I figured he's just trying to ghost me and trying to get rid of me. But he just said he's had a lot going on in his personal life, which I get. I have a lot going on in my personal life. And so we both agreed that, you know, we probably could have each communicated better to resolve this issue. So I think that's fair. And but he did compensate me fairly well, enough to the point where I feel satisfied. I hope he feels satisfied. If I have an issue again and need to be towed, I hope I never do. This is the first time I've ever had to be towed owning my own trucks, because I try to maintain my trucks really well. And, you know, this is my 3rd truck I've owned. I hope I never have to do it again. I said, well, for one thing now, if I ever get towed again, immediately afterwards I'm going to go underneath and look at everything and take pictures. And he said, well, you definitely should. And if you see something weird, please call me and I'll tell you what you should be seeing. So he was being very helpful. He was being a real stand-up guy. So I do just want to say, so I'd edited my last video, or not my last video, the one before that, where I said don't use Gibson Towing. I took that out because I told him I'd do that because now he's amicably, in my opinion, resolved the situation. So I took that back out to be a nice guy. That's why that one with the crash in Oshkosh, Wisconsin disappeared for a little while and then came back because I edited that out. Because that's only being fair. I mean, he did stand up. He was a stand-up guy. He did own what happened, and he compensated me, I thought, well enough, you know, to make it worthwhile. And so I will honestly say, yeah, he is a good guy, and he is running a good towing company. You can't control all your employees. I've been a business owner. Well, I am a business owner, but I've been a business owner with employees before when I owned a radio station years ago. That's the hardest part about owning a business, is dealing with employees. Believe me. So this is why I like being a single employee-owned business with it's just me. So I screw up, it's on me. You know, who do I answer to? Me. Thank you. But real good guy. So I would recommend now Gibson Towing out of Douglas, Wyoming. Much better. I didn't even tell the whole story about the other guys I called in Douglas who basically hung up on me. And I said, look, I lived in Douglas 13 years and I thought I'd get a little bit nicer treatment, and they hung up on me. So Mark Gibson and Gibson Towing, yeah, thank you so much. It did work out well, and so I just wanted to make that clear. And I'm going to go now on Google and give you a 5-star review because you made it right. You owned up to it and helped me out, because we're all struggling out here, and that made a big difference with him helping me out on that and making things right, so that now I can keep going, which is all we can do. So Mark, again, I thank you for that. And now onto the rates. Yeah, they're terrible. The stupid thing is, fuel has gone up over $1 a gallon in the last month, and the rates keep going down. Doesn't make any sense. And these morons who keep taking these loads for these ridiculous rates, let me show you. And of course, you call up the brokers and you'll say, they've got it posted a 988-mile load for $900. You're like, I need at least $1,600. Well, we're doing it for $900 all day long. Well, then call those people. And good luck if you get your freight delivered, because you're probably dealing with people whose trucks are falling apart and they're not going to make it. Someday this has got to end. Now, on the broker's end, I know they keep saying, well, there's all this double brokering and fake trucking companies and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay. We're over 6 months now. We've got 6 inspections. We're legitimate. We've got references. Call the people we run with on a regular basis. But now a lot of the brokers keep making it further and further out. There was this Allen Lund load I was trying to do from Sterling, Colorado, going up to Powell, Wyoming. Well, who wants that load? Nobody, because you're not getting a load out of Powell, Wyoming. And I told them, they had it posted at $1,500. I called them up and said, yeah, hey, I know we're signed up with you. And they said, oh, well, you are, but you haven't done any loads with us, therefore you can't do this load. And I'm like, well, how am I supposed to do any loads with you if I haven't done any yet? Can I, And I said, look, I'm willing to do it for $1,700. So if you can bend your rules, call me back. Did they call me back? No. So I was on the phone, hours and hours yesterday after I'd driven all night, just trying to find something to fill the holes in, because like I say, the Glenrock load wasn't coming out again until Friday the 8th. So, and that's, I keep doing that load because it's the only thing out of that area paying decently at all. It pays about $1.90 a mile. Everything else, like I say, 80, 90 cents. Doesn't even pay to run the truck. So, I was, this morning, which is now, of course, Saturday the 2nd, I'm on my way to pick up my load of cereal there in Northfield, Minnesota, going back to Cheyenne for a delivery tomorrow night at 5:30, tomorrow late afternoon. And, of course, I had nothing now to fill me till Friday. And, of course, the big problem was this Monday is a holiday. And that's what's annoying as hell. As a truck driver, federal holidays annoy the crap out of me. Because all that does is mess up my life where I can't get a decent load or something to keep going. Everybody wants the day off. Oh, we don't want to have to work. I'm working 7 days a week. I need to keep rolling, baby. So that screwed everything up. I kept looking for different loads and calling brokers, blah, 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 and I'm getting nowhere. And I kept crunching all the numbers of, okay, if I take this load for 90 cents a mile, going out to Ohio or something, and maybe I can get this one coming back for $1.50, where do I end up? And of course, they're always heavy loads, blah, blah, blah. And I kept crunching the numbers, and of course, DLS, Dedicated Logistics Systems, had another serial load picking up in Minnesota on Tuesday at 1 p.m. Problem is, I couldn't find anything back there because of the damn holiday. But I kept crunching all the numbers and looking at all these different loads, and I realized it makes more sense to drive 850 miles empty back to Northfield, Minnesota to pick up the cereal again, because that load pays $22.50. Pays over $2.50 a mile. So even if I have to cut that in half and drive back empty, I'm still doing better than taking these lousy loads the brokers are offering out of Colorado and Wyoming, and then to try to get back, they're not paying much better. So it made more sense to drive empty all the way back to Minnesota for a pickup on Tuesday afternoon, and that's what I'm going to do. Because overall, I still end up making about $1.42 a mile. Like I said earlier, it costs about $1.25 to run the truck. Is that ideal? No. But at least I make a little bit, and because I'm driving all the way back out there empty and mostly downhill, because Wyoming we're at 6,500 feet, and in Minnesota they're at 1,200. So, and usually the wind blows from the west to the east. I can take my time a little bit too, get better fuel economy, pick up the load of cereal, which is light, going back to Cheyenne. I'd be much better off than taking all this crap that the brokers are offering. And I'm not going to dignify these brokers and let them feel like they're doing what they should do by continuing to offer these lousy rates. These morons who keep taking these loads, I'm sorry, you're morons. You're taking a load for less than $1 a mile. You should be slapped in the face with a wet fish repeatedly for hours on end. So because of these idiots, the best I can do is drive back to Minnesota empty to still make some money and be back to pick up my lignite load on Friday. Brings that back to Wisconsin on Monday the 11th. I've got another lignite load scheduled for Wednesday the 13th, so hopefully I can get another serial load at that point from Minnesota back to Cheyenne and get back on track. Because these loads are about the only thing saving my butt right now. So, there's a big glance into trucking. What do you think? Well, thanks for tuning in for that one. Yes, we appreciate it. And Rusty, of course, does, because that means he gets begging strips. Look at how fuzzy he is. He needs to be groomed. We've got to try to schedule that in for you somewhere. Oh, I know. They're coming up. Don't worry. Thanks for tuning in. Please subscribe. Please like and comment. I get your comments as soon as I can. Sometimes takes a few days because I'm a working truck driver. Clutch Trucker on Instagram. Clutch Trucker on what used to be Twitter, now X, where I always put some Rusty pics. And as always, sniff that magic YouTube fairy dust. Clutch and Rusty, out. Mr. Spicoli, this is a huge violation of my time. I've been thinking about this, Mr. Hand. If you're here and I'm here, doesn't it make that our time? And what's wrong with a little feast on our time? I gotta show a little bit of this. See, right before he knows they're coming, look at how excited he gets. All happy, tails a wagging, keeps bouncing his feet back and forth. Gets up there ready, knows I'm grabbing the bag. I'm getting the bag, Rusty. Oh yes, look at the excitement. Happy dog. Oh yes, the excitement's building. All right, we start down here, come down here. And there it goes. All right. There you go. Grab it. Loving that bacon strip, baby. Loving that bacon strip. Oh, it's a dog's crack cocaine. It's a bacon strip. Oh, there's a happy dog. Oh, yes. Munch, munch, munch. Munch, munch, munch. It's a beautiful thing, right, Rusty? All right. Let's get that happy dog look. Come on, Rusty.